Welcome once again, my ghouls and goblins, to your weekly horror movie podcast. Really Scared, right here on Who Are They Real Entertainment. My name is Taylor, and as always, I am your guide on this spooky little journey. Have a great show ready for you guys tonight. Really excited about this one. We got a little bit of horror movie news for you, as per usual. Little condensed, not as belligerent or as tangent prone as perhaps we normally are, because we've got a couple guests tonight. And I'm so excited for that, because when Matt and Nick started this channel, when they got this ball rolling, the idea and energy of it was to highlight and showcase local filmmakers, directors, actors, DPs, etc. Give them a little extra spotlight, give them a little extra shine. And that's never really translated to our show, to Really Scared, where we just kind of talk about some scary movies we like. But tonight, we're going to get an opportunity to do that because we got a couple guests from new feature film, Vile. It's premiering. It's got its premiere screening in 2 days. So it's not even out yet, but we still got a chance to talk about it tonight. We're going to be talking with Scott Brosius, the director, also an actor in the film. We got Emily Bishop-Bosu, who plays Sarah, Ryan Farley plays the character Artemis, and James Burney, who plays the character of Mark. We're going to bring them in a couple minutes here. Really excited to talk to them. Really excited to talk about the film. Great opportunity for us. But, couldn't do it, never have done it without my man, without the top goblin himself, Connor Breedlove. How you doing? How's it going, friend?
Not too bad. Enjoying a nice can of Natty Light Seltzer. This is the house rules flavor. It's when strawberry and kiwi call all the shots. It's pretty damn good.
Call the shots. He's calling his. He's shooting his shot tonight.
Oh yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited for this episode. I'm excited to talk about local horror.
Most definitely.
It's gonna be a good episode.
Yeah, don't get that opportunity often, so I'm really excited for it tonight. Now we could keep it brief, but we always gotta figure out what each other's been watching this week. What have you been watching, my friend?
Well, it's going to tie into the news articles we have. I've been watching. I just recently watched all 4 Screams. Should we just transition right into the news?
Go for it, man, because you had some stories I know you were looking forward to talking about. So why don't you get us here?
I watched all 4 Scream movies because the Scream 5 promotion train is, chugging right along. Scream 5 set a release date for January 14th, 2022. I'm not sure how I feel about this, though, with that release date. January is a notorious dumping ground.
Yes, it is. It is where the bad movies usually go to die, or like studios cut their losses, where they're like, this isn't going to make a profit, let's just dump it out. But I feel like that's kind of changed in the last year or two. I feel like some of the lower budget, mid-budget films have proven to find an audience in January.
Escape Room proved that horror can do well in January.
Yeah,
without being total garbage. I thought it was pretty good, and that did well. So, and it's got the Scream name, so maybe it does really well in January. But that's not the only thing that got released. There's a lot of casting news. Did you hear that?
Tell me more.
Okay.
Tell me more.
There is a strong belief that Selena Gomez is going to be joining the cast.
Selena Gomez, is this her?
Yeah, it damn well might be.
Could be. Could be a killer.
Some internet sleuths found out that the directors and the original trio followed Selena Gomez right before the release date, and this news broke.
Those social scoops.
Yeah, so strong belief that she's joining the cast. And David Arquette did a interview recently, and he expressed interest in having Hayden Panettiere's Kirby from Scream 4 to return. It's never on camera. It's believed that she died, but it's never shown.
I mean, we're also rallying for Lillard, right? So
yeah, and she was a fan favorite for the 4th one, so I think it'd be a welcome back for that character, because she was awesome in that movie.
Yeah.
And it was also revealed in the same interview that Samara Weaving was offered a role in Scream 5, but couldn't due to scheduling conflicts.
That's a shame.
And it was a couple episodes ago that I was like, I bet she has a role in it, but looks like she almost did, but just didn't pan out.
That's a shame, man. I like her a lot.
Yeah, I feel like she would have fit perfectly in that, especially with the directors. And
Right.
then the most recent news is Jack Quaid, who's Dennis Quaid's son, and he's the star of The Boys on Amazon.
Oh,
Just dropped. He's cast an unspecified role.
is this him?
Could be. Who knows?
Mysterious. For the audio listeners, I keep posting a picture of Ghostface. We don't know who's under that face. Who that ghost?
Something else I watched all 6 Paranormal Activity movies.
Did ya?
Yeah, I did.
Why'd you do that?
Because there's an Untitled Paranormal Activity movie coming out on March 4th, 2022.
Oh, so you had to catch up.
Yeah. Plot details, they're still unknown.
I bet you there's
will be a reboot, a sequel, or even found footage. All we know is there's going to be some activity of the paranormal sort.
I bet you there'll be some activity. I don't think I've seen all the Paranormal Activities.
I really enjoy them, especially the last 2 because they get more sci-fi freaky.
Is the last one the Ghost Dimension?
Yeah, Ghost Dimension. Not a lot of people liked it. I liked it.
I've not gone to the Ghost Dimension, I must confess. I have no insight into what that looks like.
I like sci-fi horror.
Yeah.
I like Christopher Landon. He did like Happy Death Day to You. He wrote 2 through 4 and directed 5, I want to say, which was the marked ones. Yeah, he directed the marked ones, which was 5. And that's when it really got into the sci-fi type thing, which we know he likes with Happy Death Day, very sci-fi. Yeah, he is coming back in a sort of like in some capacity, writing or directing. Looks like he's just going to be overlooking everything. He's quoted as saying, "I'm helping my friends and co-collaborators at Paramount set a new course for the franchise. I am not writing the script, nor am I directing the new movie. I'm eager and excited to hand the reins over to a fresh filmmaker who will undoubtedly reinvigorate this franchise that the amazing Oren Peli created so many years ago."
What do you think the over-under on this being a total rip-off of Host?
I don't think it'll go that way.
No? You don't think it'll be a Zoom call?
I don't think it's going to be found footage.
Oh, that's weird. That's almost, I feel like that almost kind of robs it of its distinct charm, you know?
Yeah. I feel like they would have to go with something different. Because the whole series is following the Demon of Toby.
Fucking
that comes to an end in Ghost Dimension. So I feel like they would have to focus on a new family with new events, new demon. Maybe they go away from found footage. I'm not sure. Maybe they keep with it. Maybe they do rip off Host. Who knows?
New year, new demon. Something to look forward to in 2021 or whenever that would come out. I guess they make them pretty quick and pretty cheap. So maybe it'd be next year. I don't know. I don't know when you make them.
They scheduled it for March 4th, 2022.
2022. You gotta wait it out for those new demons.
2022 is shaping up to be a really big year for horror. You got Scream 5, Paranormal Activity 7, and you have Halloween Ends all coming out in the same year.
That's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah. We're going to the Blumhouse in 2022. Big time. Right? Paranormal Activity was Blumhouse, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, it was. It was kind of one of their original breakthroughs. That's right.
But what have you been watching?
What have I been watching? I don't have anything that ties into news stories, you know? I've been watching Vile. Shh. I watched Vile a little bit. Don't tell anybody I got to watch it. Shh, it's a secret. Outside of that, what have I been watching? I don't know. That's a good point, Nick. Toby's lights went out on Real Talk, and his name is Toby. I mean that.
Oh,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, short walk to get to that one. How you doing, brother Page? Good to see you.
How's it going, Paige? I hope at home you are also enjoying a nice natural light seltzer. If you're not, you got to get on that. It is fantastic. Natty Light's the best.
Natty Light's the best.
The Haunting of Hill House yet?
I've not watched The Haunting of Hill House, but I'm gonna need to. If I'm gonna, well, I guess I don't need to, but I'm gonna want to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep up with The Haunting of Bly Manor coming out October 9th on Netflix. We got a trailer this week. What'd you think of that?
Looks very spooky.
Kind of keeping those ghosts up their proverbial sleeves. Didn't really see too much, which is okay, I suppose. You know,
yeah.
What you want.
The doll that turns its head when she leaves the basement. Very creepy.
Classic.
Excited for this.
And then whatever was stretching and moaning and groaning in the corner at the end of that final shot. And kids just over at that point. It was shut up.
Shut up.
Enough already. Weirdo in the attic. Gosh.
I'm excited. I think I've seen Hill House maybe 3 times through.
Wow, so you're a big fan.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. It is wonderful. It's beautiful, wonderful, scary, touching. There's a lot of heart in it. So definitely check it out.
I've only heard like the best things, and I know a huge feature popular component of it is all the secret ghosts that you can spot in different episodes. Attention's not called to them. They're not a big deal. They don't factor into the story. They're just ghosts hidden all throughout the frame. And that sort of subliminal, subtle spookiness, that's what gets me. I feel like that's very internet. Like, look in the photo, there's something creepy in the background you don't see right away. Like, I love that stuff. That's what gives me the chills, the tingles. I love that stuff. I got to get into Hill House.
And did we talk about how it has a release date now? You know, we were talking about, is it coming out around Halloween? October 9th.
October 9th. And it's a Netflix joint, so you know they're just going to tip the wheelbarrow over and they're just going to put it all over your face in one night.
So it looks like in October we might be reviewing a couple shows at once.
That's true, because I guess Lovecraft will still be running at that time.
Yeah.
Got so much to talk about on this show. We just have an abundance of content. I guess it's better than the alternative of just like sitting here and talking about jack shit all night, you know?
Yeah.
But damn, we just have so much to say, so much cool stuff to consume, though, which is great. You know, it's great to have an abundance of that. Obviously, we're still doing our book club. Got to mention the book club at the end of the month. We'll be talking about all the good Indians. Stephen Graham Jones.
Do you know how hard it was for me to find this book?
How hard? I hope it wasn't that hard. We want other people to get it too.
4 days it took me to find this book.
Did you go to a store?
Yeah, I ended up going to a store.
Wow, a real store.
Yes, I went to Books A Million in Cuyahoga Falls.
Books A Million.
Copy.
Thanks a million at Books A Million, baby. I know, and I gotta say, is yours like it's kind of a smaller hardcover, isn't it?
Yeah,
I really like the size of it.
Yeah, it's nice.
Feels good, which is not something I say about books often. It feels good. It feels good in your man's hands. I sat down with that the other night for the first time, and I just blasted through like 90 pages. I'm loving it so far.
Really? So it's good. It's a page turner for sure.
I would agree. And obviously, we're talking about at the end of the month, which I believe is the 24th, the last Thursday of September. So plenty of time to. Hope it's not as much of a challenge to find your copy, viewers and listeners at home. You don't have to go to a real store. I mean, if you got one near you, though, go to your bookstore, help them out. I know there's a great website, I believe, called bookshop.org, where you punch in your location and it finds like independent mom and pop brick and mortar bookstores near you that you can like find one near you, and then you can still order the book off their web. Like it helps, just streamline the process for you. So if you want to give a couple bucks, throw a couple coins to your local bookstore. I'm sure they could use it now more than ever. But all the good Indians, Stephen Graham Jones, find your copy, read it, come back, hang out with us September 24th. I'm liking it a lot so far, and so I'm confident that y'all at home will like it as well. And then we mentioned Lovecraft Country. It's been kind of hard to sort of sit and meditate on this one, man, because we've been so busy. I think we're gonna skip the recap on it tonight, even though I did really enjoy the third episode. I think we're gonna push to next week out of appreciation for our guests. I don't want to make them sit there and listen to us talk about something that they didn't make and aren't promoting. I don't want to take up too much of their time. So I think we're going to push it to next week. We'll talk about episodes 3 and 4 in addition to I believe we'll be talking about the new Charlie Kaufman film. I'm thinking of ending things.
I'm so excited to watch that.
Yes. I think it premieres technically tonight, right, on Netflix?
It premiered last night. It's on Netflix now, so
it's on there now. So I have to check that out soon. So that all being said, we're going to bring our guests in soon. We're talking to cast and crew of feature film Vile, made right here in Northeast Ohio, Cleveland area. It'll be having its premiere screening in 2 days, I believe, at the Briardale. Let's see, I got the image there. Briardale Golf Course in Euclid, September 5th. And we'll have the Facebook link of the event in the chat for you in a moment as well. So you can RSVP and get all the details on that. Obviously, we'll have a couple experts on the subject coming in here as well. Last thing before we do, I want to mention it. We talked about it last night. It's been from the reel. Something I want to say is, first of all, thanks to everybody who's been supporting this show on this channel. It means a lot. No matter how you watch it or listen to it, it's really appreciated. One of the best things you can do to support this channel, this show, is to follow us on Twitch. Obviously, we're streaming on YouTube and Facebook as well, but follow us on Twitch. That's going to be huge in growing our platform and moving forward and doing bigger and better things. Even if you don't really watch Twitch, it's free to make an account. It's free to follow us. Obviously, I'd love if you watch us down there too, but if you like the other platforms better, no worries. But if you follow us on Twitch at @what_real podcast, that's going to be huge for us. So think about it. We're making a lot of new great friends on Twitch. I love it. We'd love to see some more friends over there in the chat. And also, guys in the chat, people watching, feel free when we bring them in. If you got questions and comments for the cast and crew behind Vile, we're obviously pop you up on screen and pass the message along if you want to shout them out as well. Connor, anything you would like to add before we get the ball rolling here? Oh, he's muted. I don't know if he knows he's muted. There he is.
No, just follow us on Twitch. We have a couple watch-alongs that will be appearing on Twitch in October. We'll start with November, the big one, the daddy of them all, the Twilight Saga watch-along.
You'd love to see that.
10.5 hours, possibly 12, depending on certain outcomes. We'll be streaming for the better half of half a day.
I love the possessive sort of grip I have on your arm.
Yeah, I love it.
Because Chris is showing up, and I'm worried that Chris will take you from me. So I've put my hand on you very firmly and said, no, this is my Connor Breedlove.
I gotta say, I never thought I would look so good in a leather jacket, but in this photo,
you look very good.
You can tell I'm killing it.
You look very good, and that's why I'm worried about losing you.
And I wish I didn't shave my head because those locks were beautiful. And then in October, we are watching Veronica, which is Quentin Danzig's horror film.
Yes.
That he wrote, directed, and shot. It is being described as the Room equivalent of horror films.
Yes, Tommy Wiseau's The Room, of course. So we're going to have a fun, debauchery-filled evening with Veronica in October. So looking forward to that. And those will be, again, happening on our Twitch. So if you're not following @what_real podcasts over there, something great to do tonight while you're listening along. Thanks for joining us. We've got a great show here. Before we bring them in, I've actually got a little clip from Vile. This is great. I feel like Conan O'Brien. Our guest brought a clip. We're going to play the clip, and then we're going to bring our guests in. Really looking forward to talking to them. Here is a little hint of Vile.
Plagues and diseases are always at their worst during a war. As a doctor, I can tell you, they're not much better in an armistice either. It's been 5 years since the war ended. A little over 5 years since it gassed the hell out of us with V-47, or what we affectionately call Vile. After the war ended, the Midwest Free Zone gave us instructions on how to deal with the infected. They gave us 2 instructions. 1, administer a fungal-based serum at the first sign of infections. 2, once the infected have ruptured veins in their wrists, euthanize them immediately to prevent further spread of the infection. Yeah, I used to be a doctor. Now I'm just an executioner.
You're the chemist?
mycologist. I got one clip left. You good to run some more? What about my daughter? I'll worry about her. You worry about making more serum. Welcome to Midwest Free Zone, Doctor. We gotta get out of here before we get swamped. Go.
There it is. Whoa, and a Matt Thomas jump scare behind the screen. Didn't know he was going to be there. How you doing there, Matt?
Good. I know I talked about I'd come for the interview portion, so that's why I'm here. And yeah.
Right on. Welcome in. Always a pleasure to see you. Without further ado, let's bring the running man in himself. He is the director of Vile, Dr. Muted Matt. Dr. Scotty Brosius. Welcome, sir. I think he's muted as well. Uh-oh.
Hello.
Uh-oh. He's muted. He's checking it out. He's investigating.
There we go.
There it is. Welcome, sir.
I am alive.
How you doing, Scott?
It's Cortana.
How
Is
you
Cortana speaking to us?
I was multitasking.
How you doing tonight, sir?
Good. Just still kind of working on final tweaks of my the feature. So, what's up, Nick? Boom.
Nick, always the most handsome man in chat. So still putting the last finesse on that before you premiere it in 2 nights, huh?
Yeah, we're still tweaking the score here and there. Some little things about the audio, but like for the most part, it's 100% at this point.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic. I'm looking forward to talking about it. Let's bring a couple of our actors, well, not our actors, your actors, I should say, into the show tonight. Not mine. Up first, we have, she plays the character of Sarah in the film Vile. Welcoming for the first time, Emily Bishop-Basu. Yes.
Hello.
Welcome, Emily. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. Really looking forward to this. Really excited you're joining us tonight. Let's see. And we got a couple others. Let's see. One of them seems to have gone missing down here, so I'll bring in the one I can see first. We've also got playing the character of Artemis. Ryan Rip. Wow, look at this man.
Dude's packing.
Is that a fox on your head?
No, this is my hair.
Oh, just your hair. I've never met you before, so he always looks like this. We do have one more guest. He's vanished from the lobby. Hopefully we'll see him again soon. Oh,
Copy.
wait, I don't know. He's working on it. This is the thrill of doing a live podcast. You just get to see the technical troubleshooting happen in real time. Okay, I think we got it. All right, we're gonna bring him in. Here. What we got? Also have playing the character of Mark, Mr. James Gabby Burney. Is he there? There he is. Hello, sir. How you doing? Can you hear us? Got him?
He's the strong silent type.
We're prone to technical errors on this show. It can be a little tricky on the mobile sometimes. So we'll find out. We got him down there, so we'll see how it goes. Hopefully he's we lost him. We'll work on that. I'll see him down there. We'll bring him back in. How's everybody doing tonight? We got a lot of faces on the screen, a lot of new faces.
Doing well, doing well. How are you?
Fantastic. I'm really excited. Thank you guys for joining us. It's the first time we've really had the opportunity to highlight a Cleveland film on this show, and I think that's such a great opportunity for us. I appreciate you giving us your time. Let's see, we're going to try it again. I see him one more time down there. James Gabby Burney. We got him?
Yeah,
Got us?
got him.
Can you hear us, sir?
Oh, yeah.
There it is. We got it. Welcome to the show, sir. How you doing tonight? Oh, no.
Yikesies.
Yikes.
Hey, we do this every week, and we fall prone to the same things ourselves. So, we'll work on it. Hopefully, we can get him in. But we'll keep the ball rolling tonight. So, guys, you finished the feature film. What's that feel like? Scott, have you ever done that before?
Yeah, this is my third feature. This is my first with the wonderful actors that are here with us. And the first feature that actually makes sense.
Okay.
So yeah, and it's funny because like the origin of this just kind of started off as like a makeup experiment because I do a lot of the 48-hour films. So I wanted to like train Emily and a couple other people that are part of this how to do makeup in place of my makeup artist. So you know, then we liked the story enough that we're like, well, let's expand on it. And then it just kind of, I was like, oh, we'll do like a web series. And then the web series turned into, oh, we'll do a 45-minute film. And then the 45-minute film turned into a feature.
I should ask, because obviously, you know, the film hasn't premiered yet. That'll happen in 2 days. For those who are familiar with File, what would you say about that story? How would you sum that up or describe File to someone?
I give it to one of my amazing actors.
So are we meaning the short that started it all? Is that what we're?
I would say the feature film.
Feature.
Yeah, the feature, Emily. What is the movie about?
Okay.
You're choking.
No, I'm trying to put it into words. I would say that overall the feature is about standing up for yourself and defending yourself and your loved ones.
What do you think, Ron? Do you think that's a good summary?
No, I would say the movie's about me. So it's about extremely handsome bearded man finding his way through a world that has changed. So that's what I got from it. Yep.
We've got at least two of them right here in the chat, in the stream rather. So
yeah, so one of the things as we were writing it, like we started seeing like parallels to like the Wizard of Oz, oddly enough. And my character kind of oddly enough is like the wizard. But like a dick, like a shitty wizard that like causes problems and kills people.
Like an ice wizard of the apocalypse.
Yeah, like an ice wizard. Like an ice wizard of the apocalypse. Yeah, it you know really was trying to be a tale of you know how really what's happening in the pandemic is you know adults and old people have gotten us here. Now the young people have to get us out of it.
I think we might be getting a little bit of an echo from somebody. Does anybody have audio coming out of their computer? Oh, it just went away. I think we're good now. Okay. I don't know where it was coming. We had a little bit of an echo. It happens sometimes on here. Maybe it was Matt. He disappeared altogether. I am curious. Obviously, this is a very fascinating time to be telling a story like this. How much of this film, is it more inspired by 2020 or is it more prescient of 2020?
Well, so the first chapter that we did was for a festival called the Fun Mill Festival and Competition. And what we did is it was a 7-minute film and we had like a day to write it basically. And it was January 1st that we got the script, that I wrote the script. So I would say it was long before really COVID-19 really became a thing. Mm-hmm. So it's just prophetic, I guess. Yeah. I mean, like, I guess I always wanted to make a film about, like, you know, like kind of a giant viral outbreak kind of thing. So, like The Stand and Stephen King and all that shit. Yeah. So it just kind of like evolved from that, and then like the story just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and now we have a feature.
There's and I won't obviously go into spoilers very much because this film is still waiting to premiere. But there is what felt to me again. Was any of this shot this year?
All of it.
All of it shot this year. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we really started production of this January 3rd, and then have just been working through it, you know, all through winter, spring, and some summer.
And this is obviously a strange time to be working on a set and doing something like this. What did this moment, this awful moment we're living in, what kind of challenges did that introduce to the project for you guys?
Rip.
Well, obviously, we had to adhere to social distancing, sanitation, PPE, all these things that we didn't initially have to deal with when we started it back at the beginning of the year. There was a large gap between start and when we picked it back up. So there were some issues with people's hair.
Hair wizards.
Consistency issues.
I could bring him on.
We had this large gap between start and when we picked it back up. We had consistency issues with people's hair. People concerned with the current events that were going on, but ultimately, Scott, I think he really went above and beyond. He set a precedence to kind of get filming back going in this area again when a lot of people were afraid to do so. So
most definitely. I mean, we're seeing it on these bigger productions. I mean, literally today, it's found out Robert Pattinson tested positive. Batman. It's like if you can't get people protected on these huge productions, I imagine it's got to be a challenge for anybody. You would think they would have it settled and taken care of.
I mean, the hard part is like, when I go to the grocery store, for the most part, everyone is wearing masks or face shields or whatever. But like on a set, you have your crew that can be masked and, socially distant and, washing hands. But then like you have your cast, and if you don't have it written in, they're wearing masks, then they're not wearing masks. So, so you have to kind of take the chance, like, do they care about acting or do they care about, being safe and their health? And, a lot of our shoots were delayed and kind of like postponed for weeks just because, there was someone that, was afraid maybe they were in contact with someone with COVID, or maybe they had a cough that they just weren't sure about, or maybe one of their coworkers. So we had a lot of kind of false starts in some of the shoots. Mm-hmm. And, we just, it's like, okay, man, we'll just push it out a week. We'll push it out 2 weeks, whatever.
Right. I do see him down here. Let's give it another shot. Introducing James Gabby Burney. We see him.
Hello.
We hear him.
Gabby,
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Can you hear me?
We hear you. We do hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay. I hear you.
Can't see real good, Gab.
Hearing's more important than seeing, I think. Welcome to the show, James. Oh,
his internet is awesome.
It's always an ongoing struggle with these. The benefit of this is that we can bring anybody on the show at any time, no matter where they're at. The downside is their internet may crap out on them. And literally last week, I hosted the damn thing, and 3/4 of the way through, complete internet shutout, and they had to finish the show without me. So it happens. It happens to the best of us. There was a great question, and I actually was curious about this myself. There it is. Nick asked, what was it like utilizing film competitions to build your narrative, such as the 48 and Fun Mill Film Festival?
So it was brought up by my foxy friend. See what it is there? Because the hat is, So one of the big problems that I had was, like, as we're making this, there was really no thought about continuity of, like, people's outfits, like jackets or hair.
Yeah.
And, because of that, like, we never, like, usually when you're making a feature, like if someone has like a jacket, that's an important prop. You protect it and you don't throw it away. Versus, like, let's say we have an actress that could be on this call that, had a jacket in the movie and then threw it away.
We also have
Are you speaking about me, Scott?
Didn't think we were making a sequel until after she threw it away.
Right. I mean, and I think that's the problem with, like, with how we did this is, we never had the idea that we were going to make this into anything bigger. We're like, oh, we'll make this into a second film, because when we did the 48 hour, it was the week after the Fun Mill shoot. So, like, it was like 2 weekends in a row that we shot kind of chapters, but I never really saw this going beyond that. Right. And then when we decided to go beyond that, then, like, dude had cut his hair. And, like, I mean, it's just.
Yeah.
Jackets got thrown away.
That's just a general example.
I'm gonna let me live that down.
No.
I'm going to give another shot. Here we go. Oh, just as I said it, he vanished entirely. All right. Well, we'll hopefully hear from James at some point this week. Fingers crossed. So you had the film's told kind of in this vignette format. It's an overarching narrative. It's got recurring characters through each one, but it's sort of broken up into these chunks. So yeah, you kind of formed those and do like the 48 Film Fest. Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah. So so we did the Fun Mill first, and the Fun Mill, like, we had to use the first page of a written script, and the rest of it we could do any genre, any dialogue, any characters, whatever. So I was like, well, let's do a pandemic film because I want to have some blood because I'm a psychopath maybe. And then the next weekend I was like, I'm writing it, and if you guys have done the 48 hour, what happens is you get a genre, you get elements like a character name, etc. All these little things that you have to have in the film. It kind of helps you write it too. And we got science fiction, and I kind of was like, well, I'm going to do dystopian science fiction. And then as I'm writing it, I had all the same cast and crew as I had the weekend before. And I'm like, well, this is starting to already feel like what I did the week prior. And I'm like, well, I could either do a totally different idea or just say, okay, I'm going to roll with it and do a sequel. And I was like, I'll do a sequel. Fuck it.
I've never really seen like a continued narrative through because for those who haven't done it before, I had the opportunity to work with Nick, as did Connor and Matt, who was here briefly and dropped out. We've all kind of played around with the 48 hour film challenge, and it is chaos. At least in my experience, it is chaos.
It can be.
Yeah, 48 hours to conceive of it, shoot it, edit it, and turn it in. You can run into a lot of challenges without the time to solve that. Do you work well in that format? You must clearly enjoy it, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like the 48 hour is, it's obviously a challenge, but it's no more of a challenge than any film shoot. I think I've done, I don't know, like 30, 48 hour films, like directed, edited, produced, so I've done a lot. So, for me at this point, it's, you learn your problems. If you have problems in your workflow, you're going to learn all about your problems when you shoot the 48. Mm-hmm. So the problems I run into now is I like to torture my cast and crew with sets that don't have running water, sets that don't have heat.
Covered in glass.
You're right. But glass everywhere. So I enrich my cast and crew. So when we did the shoot for Veins, the other chapter of the 48, we had to bring water just to wash our hands or drink or whatever. We had to bring lights, not for filming, but so we could see, the bathroom that didn't have electricity. So we're we had to do all these things that, normally you wouldn't have to do ever. And
right.
So, yeah, the 48 hour is kind of easy for me, but now I'm doing it in such a way that it's impossibly difficult.
Yeah. Should I give it another shot? I see him down here. Let's see.
Okay, come on, Gaps.
Come on, Gabby.
We got him?
You can do it.
Can you hear us?
You hear?
I can hear you fine.
We can hear him. We got him. I think we got him. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. How you doing, sir?
I'm very good. How are you?
Fantastic. I'm really happy. Happy you made it through. This is not as easy as it looks sometimes. So I appreciate that we got it.
So you've spoken about.
Sorry, I'm old school. I have the computer, microphones, or camera, so I'm on my phone.
That's all right. We got you. We can hear you. That's the most important part. Connor, what were you saying?
So you've spoken about the harsh-ish conditions of the sets. And it looks like you shot mostly in like abandoned buildings and stuff. What was the location scouting like? Was it difficult finding these sets?
You know what? It's weird. Location scouting has always been kind of easy for me. I'll literally sometimes just drive around and look for places that are interesting, or I'll go on Google Maps because my day job, I'm on the computer, I run meetings all day. So sometimes I'll just do Google Maps and I'll just look at, where's a shitty area, and then, the things I'll look for is is there parking? I care about parking. Is there train tracks next door? Is there an airport next door? So like, and then I'll just, go there and like, I'll look for like, if there's any phone numbers, if it's an abandoned place, maybe they'll have like a realty sign for like phone, and I'll call them. Sometimes they'll nibble, and sometimes they'll be like, no, we don't trust you. What are you trying to have a sex orgy here? So like sometimes people will be really sketched out. They're like, I don't know what the fuck you're up to, man. You got that beard and long hair. What are you doing? Nothing. I'm just going to kill a bunch of people and spread blood everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was say. One of the other criteria is, can I spray blood all over?
I asked that. I was like, oh, and is it okay if like we get a little bit of blood? And they're like, how much blood? I'm like, I mean, it depends. I mean, are you talking about just a flick? It's like,
Sure.
How much are you saying? I was like, maybe a gallon. No more than a gallon. Maybe 2 gallons. At most, 3. Absolute top end, 5 gallons.
It's funny that they would quantify it. Like, I almost wonder what's the number that they would have said, no, thank you.
Well, and they'll ask, like, how much blood are we talking about here? And I don't think they understand that question. Like, I don't think they understand a pint is a lot of blood. A gallon is like, you're not able to clean up a gallon.
No.
It's not going to happen.
Well, remember when we tried to clean it up on vial?
And it dripped down
through the ceiling.
Yeah, so in one of the episodes, the guy dies against the wall, and we have a blood pump, so like blood is pumping out of him, but like he's like the floor is all cracked and holes in it, so like it poured down, and we're on like the 3rd or 4th floor, and so like it's dripping down all the floors. There's blood like everywhere, and it's like, oh fuck. And I said I wouldn't get blood anywhere.
Oops. I feel like there'll be, people love to explore abandoned buildings and stuff. Somebody will come to one of those and they'll think they've just hit like the demonic satanic ritual jackpot. Like, here it is.
Well,
we haven't talked about how we left the YMCA.
Well, to be fair, all these locations I shot at, it wasn't guerrilla. Like, I got permissions from the owners, and the city of Euclid was just unbelievable. They gave us 2 phenomenal locations. And yes, Emily, the YMCA, the Young Men's Christian Shithole Association, is covered in blood. And there's dead animals in the blood pools. Like, there's we saw a dead rat.
True story. Yep.
Yeah, and we're like, whoa, there's a dead rat in that blood pool. That's unfortunate.
I take it this is a now defunct YMCA, I would assume.
Yeah. They would have demolished it already, but COVID has kind of screwed everything up.
Yeah, because that's where we did the 48 when we decided to expand on it. And
2 48s. Yeah.
I meant veins, because wasn't in 2 weeks it was supposed to be demolished or something like that?
Yeah.
I think it was March that it was supposed to be demolished, but that's March is when it hit. So
everything fell apart. And then it's funny because after I shot it, I was like, with the 48, you're so limited on the quality of, what you get. What you get is what you get. Then you turn in your film. But then, we had the chance to go back there for a second 48. And I was like, okay, we're going to do another film for the 48. Oh, did you?
I apparently used to go there all the time as a kid.
Dude. So, we go back there and, every window is knocked out. And, we're like, okay, we're going to shoot this 48, but we're also going to do, 5 pickup shots. Because I don't like the shots. And, we're here. I don't know when this place is going to be rubble. So, I'm like, let's get these fucking shots. Mm-hmm. So we shot basically 1.5 48-hour films in one weekend.
Wow. Not easily done. Yeah. Matt was also, I think it's a solid question since we've got him here. What was the casting process like on this?
I'm gonna give it to my peoples. Emily, you first.
Okay. I was in Target and I got a call from Scott, and he was like, "Hey, I'm doing the Fun Mill Films. Do you want to be in my film? I have this new guy, Kevin, and Jen's going to be in it. Do you want to be in it?" And I was like, "Sure." And he goes, I want another man, and I think we're going to do a drama, but maybe we'll do a comedy. I need someone who can do that." I'm like, "Well, I live with one of those, and I don't know if he's downstairs, but he's down there. So that's I was like, okay, we'll just have my roommate Chris Meggs, and that's our side of the story.
Rip, how did we pull you in?
You told me there was going to be pie there. So I showed up, and he's like, "Oh, well, while you're here, do you want to be in this movie?" I'm like, "I guess, you know."
Did he have pie for you in the dusted out YMCA?
We
No, they
actually
had no pie.
had a
It was
pretty
pie.
big spread of food the first time we went to the YMCA.
Yeah.
Like, we had a huge spread. We had enough food for maybe 40 people.
That was another challenge. Is that Scott is always good about providing for his cast and crew. So, coming from the expert I am, the food was actually all right even during the pandemic. So, bravo, Scott Brosius.
Not easily done. And I think we've got it maybe for real and permanently this time. James, do you hear us?
I actually have
There we
to
go.
leave my home because I pay $89 for 400 speed internet. If I leave my home, it works. I'm glad I'm getting what I pay for.
He's just walking down the street with this Bud Light.
Oh yeah, just walking down the street. The neighbors are like, "Look at the tattooed guy. Here he is, the freak."
He has like a swirly straw for his beer.
I think it was because I had the kids hiding the bodies before we got on, and I thought maybe that might have caused some interference, but no, that wasn't it. I had to leave the house.
And it's worth saying that you, as far as anybody can tell, you are also just talking to yourself as you walk down the street too. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
James, we were talking about casting. How did you get onto this project initially?
Well, I met Scott probably about 2.5 years ago, and I had done one 48-hour film project, and I was just mesmerized by it. So I went to a mixer, and Scott was there, and he's like, "Hey, if you need a team, you can join mine." And I'm like, "I'm in, please. I would love it." And we've made so many films since then. And White Midnight is my family now. I mean, I will work with anybody, and I've worked with a lot of people in this community, and it's a tight-knit community. But White Midnight's really my home family. I mean, we're really, really, really a family. I love all these people. My home's their home, and we're gonna make some great stuff. But I'm very proud of this film. It's Scott trusted in me to give me some meat in this film, and I hope that I entertain people. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm a good actor or not, but if not, we'll find out. But yeah, but as far as casting wise, Scott actually made me the AD after I think it was the third or fourth short when we decided to make this a feature. And I reached out to a lot of people that I had met along the way and brought them in. And we got so lucky. We had so many great people that were so willing to be a part of this. And they stood up and they got props and they got outfits, and they were just so happy to be a part of it because they believe in Scott's work and they've seen what he's done, that they knew it was going to be something good.
James, I also noticed that you had an executive producer credit on the film. Had you done that kind of behind the scenes involvement before, or was that new for you?
I was asked to do that, and actually there's a movie that I was involved in prior to Scott's, which was my first baby, and it's 3.5 years in the making, and I've still seen no fruition from it. I'm hoping it will come out one time, but yes, I've dabbled in it, but Scott really put me to the test, and I've learned so much. I've come up with so many more responsibilities, and it's taught me a lot. And again, I always made fun of it because I always wanted to be an actor, and people say, "Oh, acting's easy. It's easy." Yeah, it can be, but when you actually see what goes into making a film, there is so much involved in it. It's work. It's work, and if you believe in it and you're dedicated in it, it can be something good, but it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah, especially doing a full-blown feature. I mean, that's no easy feat. The amount of work and chaos involved in making a film, it's insane to me that there's ever been a good movie ever. It's crazy that it's ever happened. And going for that feature length, I mean, that's no easy feat. Scott, not only did you direct it, you actually, as we saw in our clip, running down the road, you also acted in the film.
Yeah.
What's that like, directing something that you yourself also are in? Was that a challenge?
Hard. It's hard. I like to act too. And one of the big reasons why I got into film to begin with is because I want to act. I want to be in movies. But I'm a weird guy, and not everyone wants to work with me because I'm weird. Obviously, things are getting better now, and people want to work with me because, I look like the crazy guy. But one of the hardest things is you have to trust the people that you're with and say, what do you think? Was that a good take? Do you have any feedback? And you have to trust people, and you have to hope people will want you to get the best quality for the film. So I try to surround.
I apologize because Scott did that. Scott did that take 3 times, and it was probably about a quarter of a mile he ran. And the first time, I flubbed on a prop with my clip, putting my clip in the gun. So that was my fault. So I apologize because I could not have run that far. I'm too old.
Yeah, how we did that shot is we had a golf cart, and we had a person with a vest and arm on a gimbal, and then a person was driving, like 10 miles an hour or whatever, and like I was chasing it. and like the second time I looked at the footage and I'm like, it's not quite it. I was like, let's do it again. So we do it again, and like I was done. Like, I thought I was gonna die. And then Gabby, you were there. You're like, Scott, are you okay? Are you gonna die? I mean, you're gonna have a heart attack right now. And
the best part is my line is, are you good to run some more? And
right.
Scott had to react to that, and you see his eyes get so big, and Scott's got crazy eyes, which are amazing.
And I that was acting. I mean, I obviously hammed it up, but I was like, I don't want to walk anymore. I just want to sit down right here. This is my home. I just want to sit down right here.
Mm-hmm.
But it was crazy. It was then they're like, dude, should we do it a 4th time? They're like, no, that's it. It's like, I'm like, yeah, that's it. We're done. We nailed it. That's perfect.
I think it's a great shot. It's a great way to open the film. It's totally intriguing and just on a technical level, so smooth. I was wondering, whether it was steady cam or what. So you answered another question I had was golf cart.
It's a lot better than what Taylor and I and Nick did on our short film. We did like a tracking shot, and we didn't really have anything to our disposal. So what we did was we took my car and I held Nick as he was pretty much just stabilizing the camera on a half rolled down window.
Dude.
So I drove through this cemetery and he just kind of steadied the camera on the window.
Was it what you wanted?
It turned out decent, that shot. We could have probably done it a lot better given better equipment, but we did what we had to do. So how I got my shot as steady as it is because I have a vest and arm. It was basically on a spring system. Yeah.
So it absorbed all the shocks. But I mean they're driving through puddles and stuff, and they're because I'm running at them, I'm watching them bounce around, almost falling out of the golf cart. I'm like, please don't fall out. That's my camera. That's my gimbal. Please don't fall out. And
that's your camera. You're not worried about your cameraman.
Oh yeah, him too. Well, the camera would have broken his fall.
You can always replace a cameraman.
True. Probably less expensive. Matt did have a question in the chat. It's a solid question. This one's actually for Emily. You worked on quite a few Cleveland productions, including Nick Molbach's own A Shattered Diamond. I believe you're also in his short film coming up, Damned If You Do, Damned If You Don't, getting some love on the festival circuit. What's it like being so trusted and invested in this local community?
Trusted. That was a word I didn't expect. But I'm glad. I hope that people trust me.
Absolutely.
Well, I would hope you would, Scott. It's been what, 2 years? Like 2.5, I think. I don't know. Maybe more than that.
Maybe more than that. Actually,
it might have been more than that. I don't know. But anyway, I love indie film. I've been on like commercials. I've been in theater. I've been in all different levels of film, student film, whatnot. But like the community that's in indie film is, you can't beat that. There's nothing that changes that. And that's always like the best part about it. Like, I mean, for those who've seen the film, there's a lot of emotional scenes that I had to do.
Yeah.
And it was so fucking easy because these are my friends. These are my family. This is like that, there's the adding the circumstances of the film, but like to care about these people took like no effort because I do care about these people. This is my film family. That's always there. It's just the pandemic and guns and soldiers and veins and stuff that's different. But the love of the people is that's there with or without the film. So.
And based on what you said, the film was about kind of resonates. And what the final, to your point, it's a dystopian pandemic movie, but it's kind of an optimistic movie once you actually see it and hear the sort of resolution and lesson of it. So it sounds like that kind of resonates in the behind the scenes of it as well. And you actually touched on something I'm curious about is that this could go for any of the actors. This is a pretty intense story. I mean, this is a post-apocalyptic, survival story, and it emotionally does get pretty intense. What was it like for you guys, investing yourselves in that story? How did you connect with it? Has you ever done anything like this as far as narrative or content goes?
I mean, Rip, I think
we filmed in a pandemic during a pandemic, so that was something intense.
Well, there's a scene in the film with Rip, and that's his son, that's his real son.
Mm-hmm.
So and we wrote that scene before St. Patrick's Day, and what did we shoot it in July, Rip?
Yep, July. Yeah.
So, and his son has one line, and he's been practicing that line for 4 months.
True story. That is 100% true. He was dedicated 100% to that one line. So.
But there's a fire scene that we did, which was the day before our final shoot. We did the end of the film is the last shoot that we did, and then we do this campfire scene, which was really the day before, and it was very small. It was all of us that are here, and then my buddy who's a sound guy and also the score composer. And when they toast whiskey, we were behind the cameras raising our cups as well. And we're shooting this in one take. This is it.
We had the cups. We should have brought them.
Yeah.
Mine's downstairs. I could go get it.
There it is.
Just for the record, by no means were we ever intoxicated on this film.
Oh no.
For the record.
No.
Answered my next question.
Yeah, it was a very expensive bottle of whiskey that was donated to us by Western Reserve Distillery in Lakewood, Ohio. I'd kind of got their name from whenever all the hospitals were looking for hand sanitizer, and they had switched all their production to start making hand sanitizer. And I was like, oh, cool. So I went there because it was impossible to get any when I did the tent scene in the beginning of the film. And I was like, oh, this place is rad. And you sell whiskey and stuff too? And yeah, we're a distillery. That's what distilleries do.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. And they were super awesome, and they hooked us up with it. And they're also, for our event, they had a drinksmith make us a cocktail, just for our event.
Wow.
kind of rad.
Did you decide what that's going to be called, Scott? Did we?
It's gonna be called
some
Serum.
ideas?
I'm keeping it simple. It's not gonna be the rat fuck.
Ah,
It's not gonna be Dr.
Not the
Douche.
Artemis.
The Artemis. Actually, the Artemis is a good story too. Rip.
yeah. So Scott likes to include in his script a lot of words that common folk like myself struggle with. So we had gone through several takes, and he was getting shots from another angle that didn't include me, and the line was supposed to be Armistice, and it was the very last take that we did, and I threw up an Artemis. So that's where my name came from.
Well,
It's also from me not being able to get it together after
Oh
that.
yeah, that was
Because
nice. That was fun.
You said Artemis, and it's like one of the most important lines of that scene. Everyone kept going. I'm like, we're gonna keep going, and then
Yeah.
laugh. And then Scott would, every time that we would stop, he'd like shake his head like a dog out of a bath and go, "Stop laughing!" Do it. So that would make me laugh, and so then I'd like not look at him. And then I look at you, and you're like, you're making sure that you're going to say the right line. So that's making me laugh. And it just took forever to like get it together for me. So it's also on me that that's a joke.
Yeah. I'm billed as Artemis now.
You guys touched on it a little bit earlier, and again, I won't say too much for sake of spoilers, but the campfire scene. I really enjoyed that. And part of what I enjoyed about it was how organic it felt. I was there an element of improv, whether in that scene or just throughout the film in general? Was it all pretty close to the script?
I mean, there's no line where I say
funny you say that. Sorry, go ahead, Emily.
Oh, I was just saying that fuckhead was not written. I just said that.
No, that was an Emily throw in there, and I think it fit beautifully. So, the one thing I remember about it that really stuck out for me was we had done the scene, and like Scott said, we did it pretty much in one on the first take. And when we got to the end of it, we were kind of sitting there waiting for me to yell cut. And it was Scott and Ted Novotny who he said, was helping him with sound. And we sat there, and there was a little bit of a time gap, and then it's, oh, sorry, we forgot you guys. So to me, that was the ultimate compliment. When someone could tell you, we forgot you guys were acting, that tells me that the scene was nailed at that point, yeah. Mm-hmm. But, Emily touched on it. There's a true affection with this cast and crew. I mean, we missed each other when we had that big gap between filming. Like, we were like texting and messaging each other saying how much we missed each other. And it was love for this White Midnight family, like Gappy said. So I think it shows. I think it shows in the film, and I think it really resonates. And those emotional scenes, they were genuinely emotional. Like when we knew we had final scenes with Kaylee and Jennifer, like we knew we weren't going to be filming with them anymore. Those tears, actors' tears. Those were genuine tears. So, I mean, mine were actors' tears because I'm a phenomenal actor, but everyone else was genuine.
Well, and it's funny. It's funny the words that you use, Taylor, because I have somebody that I use to gauge whether I'm doing well or not, and I allowed someone to watch it, and the exact words she asked me was that fire scene improv? Because it was so natural and so meaningful, and I had to explain to her this was like the last scene, the major scene before we wrapped, and it was so emotional. And then again, the scene prior, without giving spoilers, with Jennifer and Kaylee and Emily crying, that was real. And I was in tears, and I had to be the tough guy. So I actually kind of had to hide that because I'm a crier now. I'm getting older. I'm a crier. And it's very emotional. I mean, this is a real family here. Yeah.
I did kind of love the emotional arc of your character, James, because he is very much a tough guy, kind of the muscle of this crew as they're trying to survive in the apocalypse. And seeing your journey as that character opens up, I thought was really really believable and really rewarding. I mean, all three of you really had to go, I think, on a bit of an emotional journey throughout this one. It was not sunshine and rainbows by any means.
No.
Sure. And Scott wrote it so well. And when we were in the warehouse scene and Emily asking if she could have my rifle, you can see that's where I kind of broke down into the father figure per se, saying, you know, yeah, you can have it, but I'm going to carry it for you. And you can see where we really started to bond.
Matt did have a question here in the chat for Scott, I believe. As someone who's been fortunate enough to see your work grow over the last few years, I've got to ask, how do you put yourself as a filmmaker with each project? Do you know?
It's the beard.
I mean, I'm always reading and watching videos, photography and just kind of technical, behind the scenes stuff on how to be a better filmmaker. I also take a lot of like leadership seminars and classes. I want to be a better leader in person on my sets to make it a better set, because for me, like, filmmaking is not fun. Like, fun is kind of a like cuss word. But I want it to be fun for everyone else. I want everyone else to enjoy it, and I want it to feel rewarding and fulfilling. And that doesn't always mean that I get to be fulfilled and rewarded, but seeing everyone else appreciate the work and time I put into making it a good environment makes me feel good.
For the actors, what is it that you guys look for in a director? So what did you see in Scott? Emily, what did you see in Scott and Nick? Working with Nick a few times. What is it that draws you to a director?
I like a director that can balance the like taking charge and having a true vision, but also can give the actor leeway to add their own input. Because sometimes you'll get people that are like too far to one end of the other. Is, when the actor's only doing their thing, then there's no real cohesion to the story and the characters and whatnot, because there's no direction. Even the best trained actor, you still need some sort of direction to fit into this whole piece. But then there's the directors that are, this is my way, this is how we're doing it, this is what it is, and there's no leeway in there. Because I remember in Veins and it's such a small little thing, but I asked Scott to add just a little line because I really thought that was needed, that wasn't there. And, it was nice to have someone who's like, yeah, no, I agree. Do it, and we made that happen. And it's so small because all I do is I turn around and say, asshole. It worked in there, and we were able, we had a discussion about why I wanted to do that. It wasn't just, a chance to swear at Dom. It was, I had a reason behind it, and I explained it, and I'm not going to explain it now because I want people to see the movie. But to be able to do that and have my own take, and have some choice over the character. I'm not playing Scott's character. I'm not playing Emily's character. I'm playing Emily and Scott's character.
Yeah.
Very collaborative process, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But it's trust. I mean, if I'm going to trust them, and they're trusting me, I want to trust, like Emily, for example, more than just in words. I could have easily said, sure, do your improv, but it won't make the cut. That's kind of a slight. So, I mean, for me, if I'm going to say, if you think this has value to the story, if you think this has value to your characterization and to your character's journey, then, I want to incorporate that into that.
Ryan and James, I'm also curious, is there anything you guys look for when it comes to either directors or maybe projects, anything that really stands out? Like what appeals to you when you're acting and looking for something new to do?
Well, first and foremost, I like to work with directors that like to eat, so I want to put that out there first. Second, the thing about Scott, and I'll kind of second what Emily said. You know, when he has a unique vision, he most of his films don't fit into any one specific genre. You know, they're uniquely white midnight Scott Brosius films. You're not going to see a lot of, you know, copies of what Scott does. He's unique. So he has a very unique voice. With that being said, I never ever have felt like he has stifled me as an actor. He always would say, "This is my movie, but this is your character. You do what you want with this character." And he's very, very open to suggestions. He's open to, you know, like there's a hundred times, you know, Scott writes he's very unique with what he writes. And like the whole armistice thing, you know, he uses. You know, I've said, Scott, I wouldn't say it that way. He goes, say it how you'd say it. Say it how you'd say it. So, as far as directors, I mean, I want to work with a director that I can drink a natty light. What are you drinking there?
A natty light seltzer. This one is the Catalina lime mixer.
Yeah, so
when cherry and lime become best friends.
Yeah,
very good.
So I want to be able to drink
The
one of
fucking
those.
Catalina wine mixer.
That's a great name. But seriously, though, I'm thankful that I can call Scott. I've been Scott for He's put me in a lot of his movies. And he actually came before he started filming. He said, "What do you want to do next?" I said, "I'd like to try something dramatic," because I usually get put in, you know, comedic roles. I have no idea why. But, I'm like, I'd like to try something dramatic. He's like, yeah. You know, and that's kind of how was cast for the movie. But yeah, I mean, any director that I can take natty seltzer with, I'm down. Let's do that. So
Yeah, I definitely think drama fits you better than comedy. You're very stoic and serious. I have no idea why you would be cast as, you know, the comedic role. So good thing he put you in a dramatic role finally.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it was definitely outside of my wheelhouse. You know, I trust the people that I work with. I trust Scott 100%. And I'm really satisfied with the product. I'm really proud of this film. I think to do a quality feature film with the barriers and the hurdles that we had to jump through and have it come out as well as it did, I mean, what else can you ask for? You know,
right? Especially the subject matter. I mean, hard to tell a story like that while so many are like, it's hard to tell whether it's a good time or a bad time to release a film like that, right? Like, is it is it almost synergy? You know, because so many people see that and go, I can feel that. You know, I can relate to that. Or is it like people like, I guess if you're going to make a horror story or a thriller story, it works out because it makes it so much more relatable and people can place themselves in the situation. Because I mean, the world and story of Vile, it doesn't feel as impossible or fictional as perhaps it would have a year or 2 years ago. So very interesting time to be telling that story and watching a movie like that. It definitely, I would say it enhanced it in my experience. I
agree.
James, I'm enjoying hearing all the perspectives when as an actor. You know, again, what kind of resonates for you when it comes to projects and directors?
Well, as far as with Scott, Emily, and I actually met on the set of Wuxia 2, which was actually released in America on DVD September 1st as the Mortal Kombat Decode.
Listen to that plug.
Yeah, I like it.
It's a perfect plug because we have Johnny on Sunday.
Well, again, I was very nervous. I've always wanted to be an actor, but I'm not the jump out there in the scene kind of person. I played a tough guy, but I'm very nervous around new people. Scott, Emily, and I started bantering as we were practicing our ninja skills. And Scott just went on this rant about chopping down giraffes and how we were going to fight them. And Emily was trying to kick a light that was probably about 10 foot out of her range. And after like 6 tries, falling on her butt. She did it. I was so proud of her. They made me feel so comfortable, and it was so fun. And I didn't know if I would ever see Scott again. And again, I was just an extra in the film, and then I met him at a mixer, and I thought, I want to work with this guy. I'm not going to approach him. And fortunately, he approached me and said, "Hey, if you need a team, you can be on my team." I believe in Scott, and you can call it ass rubbing, you can call it whatever you want. I will back Scott 100%. He's got quality, he's got vision, and as Rip and Emily both said, he knows who he wants as a character. He kind of sees what he wants that character to do, but he lets you make that character what you want it to be. And that's very important. It really is in a movie. Because if you know you have that range to do what you want to do as your character and make it your own, that a lot of directors won't do that. They're like, no, you didn't do it right. I want you to do it this way. So that makes it so much easier. I've told Scott, I've been on film sets where it's work. I don't feel like it's work when I come on Scott's film set. I'm going there to have fun, and I'm living my dream, and he allows me to do it. So I'm happy about it.
Definitely get the sense of community and kinship and how comfortable you guys are, how close you are. Not only just hearing you speak, but it's apparent in the film itself. So it's really cool to kind of get confirmation on that. It's clear you guys really grew as a group on this film. Matt popped in. Did you have something, Matt?
Oh, I'm just finally back because I had to take my grandmother to take care of something. But Scott, I do have a question that everyone in the indie film community has been asking you for like 2 years now. So, Scott, when will you shave?
Oh, dude,
it's coming.
Mountain Man, can you help with this?
Yeah, so one of the next projects that Scott has lined up is Woodsman. He and myself did the first season. When was it, Scott?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. So in season 1, the satin-lined henchman from hell shaved his beard off. I don't think he's shaved it since. So season 2 is going to pick up, and that magnificent beard he has flowing out of his face right now is going to be on full display in season 2 of Woodsman. And I think, without giving any spoilers away, maybe
I might answer. It might answer your question. It might answer your question.
Okay, because I know it was something I was at with, and I was around you, Nick, and John, and you're like, "Oh, thank God this thing gets to go away in like 2 months." So I'm like, it's been way more than 2 months now.
I feel like I've been hearing you say that for 2 years.
No, man, like, have my back here. You know what I've been going through with this.
Dude, Scott, even I think your beard's too long. That's crazy. Yeah. So, I mean, I want to swing from it, but I think that ended in an injury for both of us. So.
It gets caught in my armpit. It gets caught in my, like, it's the worst, dude. Like I'll be sleeping and I can't turn over because it's caught in my armpit.
At the moment, it's a necessary evil.
Oh, dude.
We've actually discussed doing a filmography about the troubles of Scott's beard.
I mean, I remember one of the times I saw you at just like public. We were both at Cedar Lee. I was there for Rocky Horror. You were there for The Big Lebowski, and you had the dude just going. The beard was the right length. You had the hair. I was like, you look like the dude, Scott. And he's like, well, thank you. It works out. But no, I still remember the first project of yours I saw, and it was an indie club back when Nick and I were there to promote Rise of Ren. And it was that one where you played the guy who was kind of a burn victim. You were just sitting there.
Oh, yeah.
And I know I was asking questions while I was out, but it's just how you've progressed is just amazing. And what you do for the community is just great also. So I wanted to just thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. I mean, one of my goals in the last couple of years has been to try to be more of a mentor to the community because, like I said, as 48 hours, they're not really hard for me to do anymore. Yeah, that's loud.
Should I pull him out? I can't. Oh wait, there he is. We got him.
Okay. So, the 48 hour isn't really a challenge for me anymore. So like I'm trying to make it an objective to like help people that need help and like mentor people and like, take the time to like help people grow, because we're a better community with more filmmakers than we are with just me being really good. Like if there's a whole bunch of really good people, that's awesomer. And then, and let's be selfish. They're going to support me. I'm going to support them. When I need help, they can help me. When they need help, I'll help them.
Absolutely.
It's just good.
Absolutely. No, it's great to hear. I mean, I think that's, as someone who, I know a couple of people here and there, as somebody who's just barely kind of scratched the surface on and meeting people in the local film community and industry. That's something it's definitely confirmed here as I listen to you guys, but something I've always kind of got a sense of is that family environment. It seems like, everybody knows each other, but everybody is a great friend to each other. It's not just, oh yeah, we work with each other and we pass each other at the event or the screening or whatever. It really seems like there's this great strong community of great people supporting each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think, at least as far as I can tell, Cleveland's very unique and special in that way. Something I noticed, Emily, in the credits, you were on the makeup team. Is that correct?
Yes, I was.
Had you done that kind of work before, or was that new on this film?
Like in passing little bits. I'm not getting possessed. I have the fan on, and that makes my lights flicker.
We got the lights on here.
Weird idiosyncrasy of my house, but so I've done like a little bit here and there, and then we lost Ron George for 48, so we had to kind of become our own Ron George between those of us who had done makeup. And that's what Vile was. Vile was really just a test run for the World 48.
Yep.
Which ended up being Vane. So, it's very cool to me that Vile was like, we're testing out how we can do this. And then
that's it. That's all it was ever supposed to be. And it turned into something way bigger.
And the Vane effect's solid, and it goes deeper than just some makeup on the wrist. When you really get to like the more infected and the scar tissue of it as well. Again, I don't want to get too deep into it for spoilers' sake, but that there's really some great work being done. That's what the entire kind of story and premise hinges on, is selling the look of that. So I absolutely think you guys succeeded in that.
Yeah, you've seen the rough draft of it. Does it sell? Because this was me. This is the first movie that like I've really like, because Ron was kind of our mentor, but at the same time, it was me, Emily, and Jennifer that did 95% of all the makeup.
Until we got to Venerate, and then we just got everyone. Well, I think we only got Chris on board. Let's give him a plug.
Yeah, but he didn't do makeup though.
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
He did the blood on the bandages.
Okay.
There's usually photos of him doing it.
Okay. Pauline helped as well.
Yes, she did.
But yeah, it was
Gabby
all part of the
too.
makeup experiment.
Gabby did it. Gabby did my dirt makeup twice.
My dirt makeup.
A lot of dirt makeup in this.
Dude,
Yeah.
There was a lot of dirt makeup. That's true.
Dude, I bought these. I went with Ron George to make my makeup kit. And Ron George is a prominent gore makeup artist in Cleveland, and he's like, they had these like dirts, and Ron's like, oh, you don't need those. I was like, no, I think I want those dirts, and he's like, you'll never use that much. That'll last you for years. I have maybe
Famous
a quarter left of the container. We used a lot of dirt.
A lot of dirt.
A lot of dirt.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
A lot of dirt in the movie.
Well, we would just if the ground wasn't scary sharp with glass, we would just roll in it to get our costumes, because it would just spray everywhere.
I kept
unless you're Gappy, Gappy still rolled in the scary sharp stuff with glass.
Yeah. I kneeled in it, and when we did one shoot, and like I cut up my legs, but I was like, whatever.
Yeah, I got some in my hand.
Emily was like, you're bleeding, Scott. I'm like, it's all right. Let's just get this done.
So that's the real deal. No funny glass on that.
Nope.
No.
No.
I have like fake glass, but no, that's like it was sketchy.
I mean, you hear it whenever anybody's going anywhere. You're hearing that crunch under their feet.
Yeah.
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 It was for real. We did a really funny scene though. Like after we like shot, like, and we're kind of wrapping up, I had a Rip here. Like I was like, I want you to kick in the door, and he's like, what do you mean? It's like, I want you to be like the Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah.
And he kicked in the door.
That came out beautiful, by the way. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Scott, you're not only a director and an actor in this thing. I mean, when you get to the credits, you're the Renaissance man all over this thing.
Hey, you had to put etc.
Got tired of listing your own credits. Was that overwhelming for you at all to base? I mean, obviously the director, and it always comes with a lot of control and responsibility. But it seems like there was really no aspect of the film that you weren't hands-on involved in. Was that overwhelming, or is that just another part of the job for you at this point?
So when I first started off in filmmaking, I developed my style because I didn't have anyone to help me. I didn't have reliable actors, so I was like, well, I'm going to be the main actor. I didn't have, camera people. I didn't have, so I had to learn to kind of do everything myself. Like I remember when I was first like learning to do audio, I had like a laptop, and then I had like an audio interface, and I had a big like power jumper cable battery plugged into my laptop. And I'm like trying to carry all this around to record like audio. So I've kind of crawled through the mud learning how to kind of do it all myself. And now to me, to not do it all myself is weird. And I know it's weird. I know that I'm the weird person. I know it's hard to believe. But it's atypical. But now I enjoy the editing. I enjoy just the piece of putting puzzles together and Legos together. And, I enjoy the organization of getting ready for a shoot. I've just learned to love all of it. It's weird. To not do it all would be sad.
Might even be boring for you at this point if you weren't,
It would. I like being really in the mix of it. To not, I like color grading. I like working on audio. I like doing special effects. I like, I kind of want to do it all.
So it's a true labor of love for you then.
Yeah,
I love your hands are all over it in every aspect.
Yeah, I mean, when I say that filmmaking isn't fun to me, nothing about this is fun, and it's because it's such a deeply personal and serious thing to me to make film, to pull something that's in my brain and make other people see it is spiritual, or I don't even know what words I could use to describe it, but it matters in a way that is bigger than anything that I've ever done.
Is erotic one of the words you were looking for? Erotic.
Yeah. That's why I have blue spandex.
And why you ask things like "What's in my butt?"
It's a fair question.
Or why you say things like "You are where you're
That
at."
is one of my favorite set stories. What's in my butt?
What was in the butt?
Oh yeah. What do you want me to do with that phone?
So, two backstories. One, we started with a scene. We did a whole bunch of scenes at this warehouse, and we started with one where Rip and I weren't in, and Kaylee also wasn't in it. And Ron was showing us all his new prosthetic toys and just left. And I literally had this prosthetic tongue in my hand. And I went, what am I supposed to do with this tongue? And Rip missed all of it and was like, what? And I made a joke. He's like, I don't know why I thought I was going to see something different, or you meant something else. This is the White Midnight set. This is a normal thing to hear. That was like a running joke of this is what you hear on set.
Yeah.
So that's at 9 a.m. Jump forward to 8 p.m. when we're filming our warehouse scene, and Scott's exhausted and just kind of okay, we're gonna do it now. And at one point, he reaches back in his pocket, goes, "What's in my butt?" And like starts digging around. We can't see, but it's just this like jean pocket. And he pulls out a granola bar and he's like, "I'm gonna eat this."
That was the first thing I'd eaten all day. I had forgotten that I hadn't eaten, and I was like,
"What was happening?" But like, I was standing next to Rip, and Rip's like, "Yeah, that's another White Midnight quote right there." So we regularly like just joked, "What's in my butt?"
Yep. What's in my butt? You are where you're at. That was another one.
You are where you're at.
Where you're at.
I believe you had a question there before we were discussing butts.
Me?
Yeah.
I feel like everyone in the industry has a story about what like made them know that they wanted to make movies. Is there like a specific moment that you knew this is what I want to do? I want to make movies. I want to be in movies. I want to direct movies. And if so, what was that moment?
It's a weird story, and it kind of in a way doesn't have anything to do with film. But I was getting ready to go to bed one night, and it was the lights were on and it's dark, and I had my window open, and I remember like putting my hand up and trying to block the light from the cars driving down the road. And I remember I couldn't have been maybe like 11 years old or something, and I was fascinated how I could focus on my hand and then focus on the street and focus on my hand and focus on the street, and how the focus wasn't the same in both, and how I remembered seeing that in movies, and I really liked seeing when things are in focus and things aren't. And like the principle of it is subject isolation in photography, and the blur is bokeh, and it became kind of an obsession to learn how to do that and understand why that worked and how that worked. And I started dreaming in, like things being in focus and out of focus, and it just became an obsession.
Wow.
Hell of an obsession to this day, sounds like.
Yeah. Too many. My wife said I'm not allowed to have any new ones. She's like, done. No more. You're a home brewer. You do this. No, no more. Done.
Emily and Ryan, I'm curious to know if you have any similar sort of anecdotes about when it comes to acting. Was there any, and James, now that we've got him back as well for that matter, I hope we have him back. Was there any defined moment that you can recall where you were like, I really want to pursue this acting thing? It means something to me. Now we lost him.
Well, I can go because I have a very specific story because growing up, like as a kid, I loved like making up stories, and I would act out stories or pretend I was in movies or whatnot. And I remember I was 7 and it was my mom's birthday and she wanted to see the second Harry Potter film. And I didn't want to because I saw the first one when I was like 5 and it scared the shit out of me. I did not want to go, but like I had started understanding like, oh, like this isn't real, movies aren't real and whatnot. So I went in with a better head, but I still didn't want to see the movie. And I remember watching it, and thank God my mom's like super into science and stuff like this, because otherwise I think she would have been pissed off at me. Because I was constantly like, well, if it's not real, then how is it doing that? Like how what if this castle isn't real, then what is this? Like, and if they're not flying, how are they doing that? I spent the whole movie asking her questions and her trying to give the best answers to them. And I remember walking out of there like, I want to do that. Like, that's basically what I do in my room, and that's a job, and I want to do that. So that's my story, is when I like realized that it was a job that you could do. I wanted to do it.
Go Ravenclaw.
Right there with you, yeah.
Gryffindor, baby.
How about you, Ryan?
Yeah, so for me, I'm just little bit older than Emily, so just slightly. But I remember my uncle, he bought a video camera, and this was like, it's not like things we used to. This was like News Channel 5, like you got to put it up here with like, support from your friends, but he bought this, and I'm like, wait a minute, you can actually film yourself and put it on video. He's like, yeah, can I borrow it, And, he hesitant. He did so, though, but he let me borrow it. And I'm just like, this is the best thing ever. You can actually put yourself on the TV with this camera. And anytime I could get my hands on it, it was just ridiculous, childlike stuff. But I thought it was the best thing ever. So, fast forward a little bit, and I've always been like a creature of creativity. And whether it be music or art or film, I always need a creative outlet. So I was doing music for a long time, and that kind of went away when one of my friends passed away. So I met Scott when we were going to school together, and we kind of shared light interests. And I remember when the first 48 that he signed up for, he called me. Yeah. He's going to kill me for bringing this up.
You fucker.
100% amateurs. We all thought we knew more than we did. But I jumped at the opportunity, and I've had. I love movies. I'm a child of film. I remember my father bringing me to the drive-ins at a very young age, and I just thought it was the best 2 hours of my life going to see a movie and just getting away from whatever bothered you throughout the day. I just think it's the greatest escape that someone can have is watching a movie, participating in, talking about movies. I just think it's just great. It's just a wonderful thing that there's so many people in this area, let alone everywhere, that are just into movies and really breathe life into it. So
most definitely, James. I think we've got you. I think we got you back in. What? If
keep walking.
if you had heard us, we were talking about what brought Emily and Ryan, more towards acting. What about the craft was appealing to them, and if there was any defining moment that made them say, "I want to keep pursuing this." Did you have anything like that, or do you have anything like that?
I've had it since a young age, and again, I'm kind of more on the line of Ryan, because we're both slightly older than Emily. Just a little. And we'll be on set, and I think that's where Ryan and I really click, because we're always bantering and doing those one lines, and that's what I've done my whole life. Yeah. And I think the last one that Ryan did was we were on set in the warehouse, and he said, "Okay, USA," and I wasn't even paying attention, and he's like, "I bet Gappy knows what that's from," and I'm like, "Bloodsport." And yep. We just started laughing, you know what I mean? But I think, and it's probably more with Ryan and myself, is watching TV and movies and enjoying them. It was an escape from reality of how we had to grow up. I grew up poor. I grew up with an alcoholic father. I grew up with a bad neighborhood. TV and movies was my way of enjoying life. And some people do sports, some people do academics. I was the TV movie kid. And even today, I'm the vice president of my union, and they love me because they're like, "Gap, do that voice, do Sling Blade." And I'm like, "All right, Dan, do Forrest Gump. I love you, Jenny." And that was my way of escaping. And if I can entertain people, and Scott and I had a long Scott and I have a lot of long conversations, because he's my wifey. But I don't want to be rich. I don't want to be famous. I don't need crowds. I don't need money. If I can entertain somebody, that's what I want to see. If I can entertain somebody and bring enjoyment to someone's life, the way all these people have done for me, that's my goal.
That's awesome.
Well said, Gappy. Well said.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, man.
Well, I actually have a question for you guys. Considering all of you guys are actors in your own right, what is one of your favorite roles that you've played over your time in acting? Because Scott, I know you don't. I've seen you in a lot of roles. I know you always have your own little roles that you've created. But this is a question for everyone. So I'm gonna start off with you, and let's go down the line.
Like I see, like my acting goes into like two kind of categories. It goes comedy, and then it goes, my dramas. And Bile is definitely my favorite drama by far. I feel it's a complex story. I feel it's a story about redemption. I feel it's a story about forgiveness. It's a story about hope. And I love how complex it is, and I love how my character arcs, is very complex as well. That said, Woodsman, which is a comedy that I did with Riff a couple years ago, is easily my favorite role I've done because we laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed, and then we hit record again. It was awesome. And and especially like this year with like laughter being kind of at a premium, I am so excited to do Woodsman and shave this beard and laugh and laugh and laugh.
This is true. We just had a text yesterday.
Oh my
about
gosh.
this exact same thing. He's like, I love this so bad. So.
I can't wait, man.
How about you, Emily? Any characters or roles that really come to mind for you?
This is gonna sound like a cop-out, and I swear it's not. But like, honestly, Sarah is one of my favorites.
It's awesome. It's such a cool role.
Yeah, it's a cool role. She's a very interesting character to me. She's like one of my favorites in the kind of dystopian characters. I like the ones that can make harder decisions and can sometimes be rash and closed off and defensive, but deep down they do actually like really care. And I think that those are the most complex and interesting characters to watch because you might not always agree with them, but you always sympathize with them. And that's a cool little bridge to be able to make that I hope I did. That I've always thought it's cool whenever I see characters like be able to do that, where it's like, I'm not agreeing, but I'm sympathizing. I think that that's a very complex writing and an acting thing that, when done well, is very interesting. I think of my favorite comedy, and I feel like I'm gonna throw someone under the bus because I don't have one that stands out more than the other. No, I do.
Verboten, you're kind of in.
Yeah. No, I would say Nice Cabin might be my favorite comedy just because we didn't give a shit. We were just like doing whatever. And that was fun. I did really like Shattered Diamond.
Mm-hmm.
I'll plug that too, but that's also genuine. That was another cast that like really clicked with and enjoyed being there, and was another one where it's like you don't feel like you're working or you don't feel like you're acting, and that's the best feeling. I did a play that didn't end up happening because COVID, and I had a very similar feeling with that cast, and that was a very different thing to do too, because it wasn't a musical, but it was like a play with live music going on, which was a whole new experience. Mm-hmm. And like angels and demons that we didn't see, but we had to like still be acting while listening to cues, but not. It was a very complicated play, but it was a lot of fun. I liked the character and I missed the people, and I wish that was something that we could do. Unfortunately, film is bouncing back better than theater is, which is just where we're at. But.
Right. How about you, Ryan?
Well, you're asking me to choose which one of my children I love best right now, right? You're setting me up here. So, I really enjoy Mountain Man. That's Woodsman's sidekick or companion or whatever you want to call him. So we have a lot of fun. But honestly, this is going to sound like a cop out too, but it's whatever I'm doing next, because honestly, I feel for me to put 100% of what I'm going to do into a character, it has to be my favorite. So whatever the next character is, next role is, it has to be my favorite if I'm going to do it properly, if I'm going to attack it properly. So, but I mean, I've been blessed to play some really good characters. Mountain Man, Stabby Mike.
I was about to say Stabby Mike.
Stabby Mike will ride again. I guarantee you that. So
God.
there's a story here. Stabby Mike is a good one. I mean, I love Artemis because this is my first real dramatic role. So I have an affection for this role that I don't have with the other ones. So again, these are all my children, and I love all my children for different reasons. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's want to keep continuing. The white midnight train rolls on, like I said before, right? So we're gonna keep rolling. So
beautiful, James. We're talking about notable characters or roles that you may have played. Is there any that come to mind for you?
Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah. Gotcha. Can you hear us?
Okay.
Maybe. I guess not.
Well, he did when we had James, he did kind of touch on how communal not just the movie making process is, but the movie going process, and not been a lot of movie going this year, sadly, but luckily Vile's exempt from that. We're going to actually have a true Vile screening in 2 days on September 5th. That is, I got the image right here. It's going to be at the Briardale Golf Course in Euclid. 2 days. Not only is your film screening, but it looks like a couple will join it as well. What can you tell us about the premiere screening?
So we're going to show like 6 short films. One of them is a trailer for Johnny Woo's epic karate wusha movie that has been renamed, that maybe I don't remember the name.
Mortal Kombat: The Code.
Boom. That guy. Yeah. And then I'm going to show 5 other films that were made during the pandemic, or at least close to it. And just try to give a little community support. It's a free event. I don't want to charge anyone. I'm not going to. It is not an open bar, but they have bar stuff there. They have food. They have excellent food, actually. Good beer selection, and we're going to have our own cocktail, the Serum, which is a cocktail that is made just for us. What?
You know what's in the serum or no?
I don't. I refuse to ask because I want to find out what it is too. I want to see what the serum tastes like. Hopefully, it's not putrid.
I mean, it wouldn't matter what was in it. I would drink it because it's our film.
I hope it's fruity and delicious. That's all I'm going to say. There. I hope it's fruity and delicious. No, but I really wanted to make a community event because we were looking on just kind of like, I have a projector and a screen myself, and I was like, well, we can, go in a field or whatever and watch it. And we're like, well, we got to use the bathroom occasionally, and it'd be cool to have food. And I was like, well, I reached out to the person who hooked me up with the locations for the YMCA and another location in Euclid, and she's like, oh, I'll hook you up with the golf course. You can just shoot there. Or you show it there. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I reached out to a buddy who's one of the he's one of the largest DIY outdoor movie screener persons like in Ohio, and like he has like a over 20-foot screen that he made that the screen starts 5 foot off the ground, and like it's this elaborate contraption, and it's huge and awesome. And we've actually done a couple test screenings in his backyard recently, and like it looks great. So I mean, everything just kind of came together, and I'm just lucky I have so many people that believe in me.
Hell yeah! It seems like a really cool opportunity. Different place to watch a movie on the green at a golf course, man. That's gonna be a really cool, unique spot to try something like that out, especially right now. So I'm stoked for you guys. I'm stoked for the film because it deserves to have a proper screening and get as many eyes on it as it can. So that's really cool, man. And I am curious. Maybe you don't know yet, but I am curious beyond the screen. Do you know how people are going to be able to see this? Like, are there VOD plans? Is it going to be streaming anywhere?
So I don't know yet. Right now, this is really the private screening for anyone who wants to see it, and then I'm gonna, I guess, fish for it to go to distribution. For any of my actors or cast or crew, anyone who is involved with it, I will send them a YouTube link. They have sweat for me. They have shivered for me. They have bled for me. They're gonna have their footage. It's very important to me that after the screening that they have access to it whenever they want it, whenever they need it, period. And not watermarked or, like 480 resolution. I want them to have 4K resolution that, and if they want to share it, they can. I want to tell people to keep it off of social media, just because, if I'm trying to get distribution or get into a festival, that could limit me from doing it. But, to me, they gave me their time. I want to give them back at least something in return.
Absolutely. Connor and Matt, I do get the sense we're kind of winding down in the evening here, but I want to make sure, was there anything else you guys had? You were curious about, any other questions you had?
No, I asked the majority of them whether it was YouTube or here. So
right on.
I have a question for you guys.
Right.
You guys weren't part of the film. You guys weren't part of the set. You guys weren't part of the film family, dare I say. What did you guys think about it maybe individually? I'm curious to hear.
So I thought, clearly, first of all, it was a fascinating time, like I hinted earlier, fascinating time to watch a film like this, experience a story like this. And I think the vignette format was very interesting and compelling, because it's season based, and so you're telling kind of a year's worth of story very quickly, but in a way that that wasn't disorienting, didn't lose me, and even though you get the sense that maybe things have happened between seasons, maybe their lives have changed drastically between these vignettes we're seeing, they still the performances still totally tell you emotionally and mentally where they're at. And I thought visually, like I said earlier, with the effects and the veins, it was, you got the direness of it in a way that wasn't, what's the word I'm looking for? Wasn't over the top, I guess. It was told very cleverly, I thought, and very emotionally, very intense. But despite being a dystopian post-apocalyptic movie about a pandemic during a pandemic, still finds optimistic and satisfying. I won't say too much, obviously. Again, people haven't seen it yet, but I think ends on an interesting note that you might not expect when you experience a story like this. So I really enjoyed it, which is great, because there's always that nervousness of like, hey, we're gonna get guests on, talk about the movie. It's like, oh man, what if we don't like it? It's always we've had that before. It's like, I never want to have to spin a narrative and be dishonest. So luckily, I enjoyed the film, and so that I can tell you that earnestly, I really did like it, which makes it all the more awesome that we got you guys on to talk about it. Sorry, I also have a tendency to ramble. That's why these shows go so long. Let Connor and Matt speak on it as well.
I genuinely really liked it. Right away, it grips you. There's a surprising amount of hope, underlying in the story, and then it comes to a head, towards the end. And I thought that was very refreshing, especially in that sort of story, and the climate we're in right now. 'Cause the whole time I was like, was this like conceived and shot all like while this was happening? Now we know the full story. But having that hope in the story during this time was really refreshing and a nice surprise for this kind of film. And I thought the performances were great. You really get the heart of it shown in those performances, whether it be, Ryan's story arc was very touching, very beautiful.
Yeah.
And everybody else's, it was just all around great. You pulled great performances out of the actors, and the story's just wonderful. So huge props to everybody.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I probably have a little bit more bias when it comes to this because I did catch this when you were first releasing the episode. So I had already gotten to see part of this before I even got to sit down and watch the entire thing. I remember the Vile episode itself when you had Dominic and let's me be in charge. I loved it. Like the opening is great. It does really grip you. It puts you in the dire situation. It lets you know how dire the situation really is. But like Ryan, your character's whole arc, I'm shocked that this was your first dramatic role because you did a really fantastic job with it.
Thank you.
You really did.
And Emily, I hear Nick and Lou singing your praises all the time, and so this was the first time because they keep a Shattered Diamond very under wraps. This was the first time I actually got to see you work, and I was really impressed with your presence. Now, Scott, it's you, so I'm too biased to say anything to you. But James, you did a really good job with that tough guy moniker, and I love that. And the color grade is beautiful. Just
thank you very much.
The situationals are just great. I know there was, and ultimately it's just a story about family, and I'm trying to change my thoughts because I'm like, wait, don't say that because it might spoil stuff. But no, I really had a good time with it. I'm hoping I can get Saturday because apparently we're doing something with Nick's family on Saturday, so that's up in the air. But yeah,
bring them all to the premiere.
We'll see. Nick's got his own stuff he's got to sort through right now.
Right.
Yeah, and I know your premiere for a second there, and I guess this is a question. I know for a second that your premiere was kind of put at risk. So how thankful are you that that's not an issue really, or not as big of an issue anymore?
Man, I mean, it definitely is. It definitely is an issue. It always is an issue. But how
it's always an issue. Absolutely.
Yeah, how I wanted to treat this event from the beginning was, and I've been telling people this for a while. Right now we're fighting two diseases, and one is the elephant in the room, COVID-19, but the other one is depression. And when we see these events that people make mistakes, they're fighting depression, but they're not fighting COVID. And I want to show them that my event, we can fight us in our depression and us, having the social isolation and this loneliness, but we can also fight and protect themselves from COVID at the same time. We can fight both and be safe both, and have this connected family experience. Like the message of the film is, we can do this together. We're stronger together, and together we can find hope.
Fantastic. I mean, it sounds like you have
very well
right
said.
idea. Sounds like you have the right idea. It sounds like you're not taking the idea of doing this event lightly. You can obviously get the idea that you guys are being very smart about it. And so you're creating an environment where it's going to be safe to experience something like that, which is awesome and important. Before we wrap up, Connor, did you have you had something?
Apparently I have no idea what day or date it is. When I started, I said that.
Come on, it's
your
my
birthday?
Saturday,
Yeah.
September 5th.
No, when I first started, I said that I'm thinking of ending things, and the boys were now streaming respectively on Netflix and Amazon.
It is streaming.
Is it?
I
thought it was September 4th.
I was
Apparently,
out about there was people blasting. They put out the first episode early because they are going to weekly.
Okay.
So.
I apparently thought last night that it was the 3rd last night. I have no idea what day it is anymore, but I'm thinking of ending things will be up on Netflix at 3 a.m. tonight or tomorrow morning, whichever you say.
Which is the film.
But it'll be tomorrow. Everybody can watch it. That will be our next film. I apparently just had no idea what day it is.
That's this year. It's all about this.
Yeah.
James, I don't want to bury the lead. Did you say it was your birthday? Mm-hmm.
The 5th.
But
Oh!
the premiere is my birthday.
Very
Perfect.
nice. Perfect birthday gift.
Scott gave me the greatest birthday present ever.
That's beautiful. Well, early happy birthday, guys, and I'll throw it up one more time. Again, the premiere and the birthday party. 2 days from now, September 5th, Vile premiere screening at the Briardale Golf Course in Euclid. I threw the link, the URL for the Facebook event in the chat on all of our platforms, so you can click that RSVP, get all your information for that, and check it out. I mean, we weren't talking about it and singing its praises for nothing. It's definitely something you should go check out. Sounds like it's going to be a solid, safe environment, full of good people. Just don't get too close to them, but full of good people and good stuff to watch. So go out, support the Cleveland film community and industry, be a part of it, and get out and get to do something cool and safe at the same time.
It was wonderful meeting and chatting with all of you, and for the viewers and listeners. We are trying to get sponsored by Natural Light. Right now, I am enjoying a Natural Light seltzer. This is the Aloha Beaches. It's when mango and peach go beach mode. Just a reminder, Natural Light is the best seltzer on the market right now. Go ahead and get you a case. Very delicious.
Dude, you're a nasty guy.
Talk what?
Nasty boy.
Sure is.
Nasty boy.
I love it.
Very true.
You called that. You sure
Yeah.
is.
You should go to our Twitter and retweet that photo. Get it some more hype. Get it some more love. So, yeah.
There it is. And I'll throw the social banner down at the bottom. Obviously, guys, I said at the top of the show, if you aren't following us on Twitch, would love to see you over there. But you can also catch us on YouTube, Facebook. You can always hear us after the fact. Broadcasts go up within 24 hours on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and now iHeartRadio. We're working on some other platforms as well. So it's hard to miss us. We're out here doing our thing on all sorts of platforms.
And just remember, speaking of Twitch, the Twilight Watch Along, who knows? Maybe we can get one of these fine people to join us for this.
Big ass. Don't scare them off this thing. We'll come back around to that.
Man. That's a great picture, man. That's hard.
Before we stop, Taylor, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
How did you hear about our film?
Yes.
It's a great question, actually. I mean, it's definitely word of mouth. I think I've got quite a few mutuals with. This is my first time kind of meeting everybody here, but I definitely got a couple mutuals. Nick Molbox obviously popped up in the chat and in conversation here.
Love you, Nick.
I think it's just kind of popped up on my radar through Facebook, probably primarily, but people talking about it. That the premiere event popped up, and
I know we talked about having Scott on earlier this year for Real Talk, but we got super busy, so we got to reschedule that soon.
Yeah, and I just heard good things about you guys in general before we even started figuring this out. So, we do the spooky movie show. I knew you were coming out with an intense pandemic thriller of some sort. So I was like, I got to investigate this. Nick Malbot got the love in the chat. Nothing but love around here.
That's great. That's great. Just to know you guys heard about it was amazing. So that's why I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and like we said at the top of the show, when this channel was created, the whole idea was to give a voice and a spotlight on local filmmakers. Hence the name. Who are they? Just kind of giving a spotlight and giving a platform for local filmmakers and actors and projects. So it hasn't really transitioned to this show on the channel. And so when, there's a local horror film that was made and, is premiering, and after all this, the COVID and all this stuff going on, to have the first, premiere for a local horror film, it was just perfect to get you guys on. So.
Oh, greatly appreciated.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, likewise.
Anytime.
Likewise. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for coming on, giving us your time. Can't wait for more people to get more eyes on the film. It certainly deserves it. And I love you too, Jessica, in the chat. Thanks for watching on me. Guys, good night to you. Good night to the folks at home. And go check out Vile on September 5th. It is absolutely worth your time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, folks.
Thank you.